Hi, I'm Chris Wardlaw for CarGurus, and that's the updated 2018 Toyota Sienna behind me. For 2018, Toyota has changed the front styling, added several standard safety technologies, upgraded the infotainment systems, installed more USB ports, and made the interior quieter. You can also get a new surround view camera system in the top-of-the-line limited trim. These updates build on the new direct-injected V6 engine and 8-speed automatic transmission the Sienna received for 2017. Otherwise, this is much the same minivan that it was way back in 2010 when it debuted as a 2011 model. Is the Sienna's age a problem? Can it compete with newer alternatives from Chrysler, Honda, and Kia? Let's go for a drive and discuss. Toyota sells the Sienna in CE Cargo, L, LE, SE, XLE, and limited trim levels. They all have the same 296 horsepower 3.5-liter V6 and 8-speed automatic transmission, and all-wheel drive is an option. The Sienna is the only minivan that offers all-wheel drive, by the way, and if you are physically impaired or you have a member of your family that is physically impaired, you should know that Toyota Mobility provides an auto access seat function for the right rear seat, and it has 330 pounds worth of lift capacity. Prices for the passenger version start at $30,750, with a Sienna Limited topping the trim ladder at $48,615 with all-wheel drive and a premium package. Now, my test vehicle is the Sporty Sienna. That's right, I said sporty. It's the SE trim, which installs 19-inch wheels with P235 50 R19 Dunlop SP Sport 7000 all-season tires. Yeah, kind of serious rubber. It's also got a sport-tuned suspension, sport-tuned steering, along with unique visual cues on the outside and black leather seats with white stitching on the inside. The price, $41,110, including $995 for the destination charge. Now, I don't know how you feel about that, but in my opinion, that represents real value, especially given the number of people and the amount of cargo that you can carry in this thing. But it's a minivan. I know that's what you're thinking. But let me be honest with you. As a father of 4 daughters with 2 decades of kid hauling experience under my belt, nothing, and I mean nothing, beats a minivan when it comes to a family car. When your kids are little and you need to put them in a rear-facing or a forward-facing child safety seat, and you're parked in a lot and the clown next to you pulled in too close, it's a total pain in the you-know-what to load a kid through the rear door of an SUV. With a minivan sliding doors, no problem. And when those kids get older and they start opening their own doors to exit the vehicle, the sliders mean that they will never, ever dent the car next to you. And here's another great thing about minivans. They hold so much more stuff than an SUV. You compare the cargo volume measurements of a minivan against a similarly priced crossover SUV, and it's not even a contest. Minivans also have more cargo room than full-size SUVs, even Chevy Suburbans and the Ford Expedition Max. And their third-row seats are actually habitable by adults. Minivans are also more fuel efficient. Now, lately that hasn't mattered much, but did you notice that the price of gas has been rising? That's because the global oil glut that produced lower gas prices is getting soaked up. And there's still all kinds of turmoil in the Middle East, and actually in some ways it's getting worse. So hey, gas prices are going to go up, and you know who's going to be complaining? The people who bought big SUVs and now they can't afford the gas anymore. Finally, let me tell you one other thing from one parent to another. You know how people have a problem with the image of a minivan? They can't bring themselves to drive one no matter how much left brain sense it makes? That tells me that minivan drivers have confidence in themselves. And confidence is sexy, is it not? Okay, enough with the psychoanalytical mumbo-jumbo. Let's talk Toyota Sienna. I like to drive, and the Sienna SE is supposed to be sporty, so naturally it appeals to me. And it's actually pretty sporty to drive as far as minivans go. Toyota tries with the mesh grille, darkened headlights, fog lights, gunmetal finish wheels, rocker panel trim, clear lens taillights, and unique instrumentation. But let's be honest, this is still a box on wheels. Boxes, however, are good for moving and storing things for a reason, and so it is with the Toyota Sienna. Up front, my test vehicle has comfortable front seats with inboard armrests, though it is somewhat aggravating that the front passenger seat lacks a height adjuster. They're divided by this useful center console, and they face a dashboard that is about practicality over style. The controls are easy to see, reach, and use, though my large fingers would prefer bigger stereo knobs. The new infotainment system is a delight, thanks to shortcut buttons, speedy response to inputs, and a simple user interface that does not require use of the owner's manual to decipher. Dual glove boxes reside in front of the passenger, and that's just one of many examples of the Sienna's practical storage compartments. And outward visibility is excellent, thanks in part to the front quarter windows and large side mirrors. The second row seats are comfortable, and they slide to maximize comfort or to add extra third row legroom. The middle section between the two captain's chairs allows the Sienna to carry 8 people, or you can remove it to create a pass-through to the third row seat. You can't tilt the right rear captain's chair to access the third row seat when a child safety seat is installed, which is unlike some of the Sienna's competitors, and that's just a reflection of the Sienna's age. That could be a deal breaker for parents of kids who still require that type of seating, but you can always just remove the middle section of the second row seat and have that as a pass-through to get to the third row seat. Adults do fit into the third row seat with no trouble, especially if the people in the second row are willing to slide forward a bit, and the seat itself is decent enough for shorter trips. The lack of thigh support, though, would bother me on longer jaunts. Cargo space behind the third row seat measures 39.1 cubic feet, assuming you stack things to the roof. If you fold the 50-50 split third row seats into the floor, then you've got room for 5 people and 87.1 cubic feet of cargo. To put that into perspective, that's more cargo space than a Toyota Highlander can handle with both rows of its seats folded down. Maximum cargo capacity is 150 cubic feet. Now, for comparison purposes, a Sequoia, Toyota's full-size SUV, can hold 120.1 cubic feet with both rear rows of seats folded. Now, unfortunately, with the Sienna, to reach that number, you need to physically remove the heavy second row seats. Alternatively, you can just tilt them forward and slide them up and just accept that you're going to have less than 150 cubic feet of space for your stuff. I'm telling you, nothing beats a minivan for hauling people and cargo. Unless you get a full-size commercial van like a Ford Transit or a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, something like a Toyota Sienna is what you need. Now, on the technology front, this year Toyota makes a few significant changes as far as the infotainment and safety systems are concerned. First, this minivan gets an upgraded and tuned 3.0 infotainment system. Even the base L trim level gets a connected navigation system and more USB ports, while all other trims also include Safety Connect subscription services and a 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot. My test vehicle has an upgraded setup that includes dynamic navigation and Toyota's App Suite technology. Unfortunately, though, the voice recognition system isn't of much use, failing to get me places that Siri had no trouble at all finding. A premium JBL sound system is available, as is a split-screen rear seat entertainment system with Android content streaming capability, but my test vehicle doesn't have these upgrades. It also, as you'll notice, is not equipped with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. You can't get either of them on a 2018 Toyota Sienna, but Toyota is finally offering Apple CarPlay on some of its 2019 models, so perhaps it will make the grade next year. Second, the 2018 Sienna is equipped with a standard Toyota Safety Sense suite of driver assistance and collision avoidance systems. They include adaptive cruise control, forward collision warning with pedestrian detection, automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning system with lane keeping assist, and automatic high beam headlights. Additionally, a blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert is available for the SE trim, and it's standard for XLE and limited trim. It's a good thing Toyota offers so much safety tech as standard equipment, because the Sienna is the only minivan, aside from the positively geriatric Dodge Grand Caravan, that does not get a top safety pick rating from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. Now, why is that? In the driver's side small overlap frontal impact test, this van gets an acceptable rating rather than the top score of good. So, if you want a truly safe minivan, you need a Chrysler Pacifica, a Honda Odyssey, or a Kia Sedona. So, how does this supposedly sport-tuned minivan drive? Well, let's start with the basics. Minivans have lower centers of gravity than do SUVs, which means they are less likely to roll over when a driver loses control or is involved in a collision. But it also means that they handle better than an SUV. And if you combine naturally better handling with 19-inch wheels, some fairly serious rubber for a minivan, a sport-tuned suspension, heavier steering, a 296 horsepower V6 engine, and an 8-speed automatic with a manual shift gate, well, you have a recipe for something that is somewhat engaging to drive. And based on my testing, the Sienna SE is not writing checks that it can't cash. As far as minivans go, it is genuinely capable when the road ahead contains more curves than straights. Plus, this van is genuinely quick. And when you shift it into manual mode, the gear numbers are big and easy to see within the instrumentation. I enjoyed driving it on the mountain roads near my home, and while the brakes did fade a little bit in 60-degree weather, the Sienna nevertheless had no trouble executing a panic stop. Under the conditions you're most likely to experience with a minivan, the Sienna is entirely agreeable. I find it really easy to park, it's effortless to drive, and it's got a super tight turning circle. Now, on my test loop, I averaged 18.9 miles per gallon, and that's well short of the EPA's combined driving rating of 22 miles per gallon. So fuel economy could be some cause for disappointment. I also found that the Toyota Safety Sense technologies are helpful and they're relatively refined. And perhaps that's because they're not constantly trying to overrule the driver in any way. Instead, they're merely assisting the driver, and that means I am more likely to keep them turned on rather than turn them off. The 2018 Toyota Sienna is not the best vehicle in its class, but there's just one major reason not to choose it over its competition, at least as far as I'm concerned, and that's related to its crash test ratings. Safety is one of the most important things that a parent must consider when choosing a family vehicle, and other minivans simply do a better job in this regard. With that said, this Toyota is the only vehicle in its class that offers all-wheel drive, and it's the only minivan offered in a sport-tuned trim. Now, I can only speak for myself, of course, but if I were shopping for a minivan, I'd get one with a top safety pick rating and invest in a set of winter tires. Be sure to check out my full review of the Sienna on CarGurus.com, and if you found this review helpful, please share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For all of us here at CarGurus, thank you for watching.